this is going to be a rundown of the January transits that are coming, and I'm going to do my best to keep it simple, but also try to give you as much insight as I am capable of. Bear in mind, we are on this learning journey together, and this is my self-taught opinion. Take it with a grain of salt, but also bear in mind that I have done a lot of research into this information. Anyway, we are going to start off by talking about the year 2026 itself. So if you add up all of the numbers of that year, you get 10, and some people take it as a 10, but some people will reduce down to a single digit, which would be 1. And 1 represents new beginnings, self-starting things, personal growth, just change in general. Of course, lots of people associate the year changing from one to the next as a general new start anyway, but this particular shift is backed by a lot of transits that speak to decisive action, people aligning with their dharma or their purpose in life, people deciding to take action and take on a more active role in their lives. And a lot of people are maybe beginning to take things a lot more seriously in this January. I would say the transits that are taking place this month are huge for water signs and cardinal signs. A lot of the signs, and also air signs, I would say. Mostly the planets are playing between Capricorn and Aquarius. That's their time of year. But there are a few different little things here and there, but there's a lot of energy focused on specifically Capricorn and Aquarius. We're going to be starting off with January 1st. Mercury is going to be moving into Capricorn. That points to 10th house activation because Capricorn rules the 10th house. Now you would want to pay attention to where your Mercury is and what house Capricorn rules in your personal chart, but just overall, Capricorn is the ruler of the 10th house. And that is your house of long-term thinking, future planning, your personal reputation, things like your career, that sort of area. And Mercury, the sign of communication, directness, moving into that sign leads to a lot of energy of building structure, organization, taking your career seriously, thinking more long-term, being realistic about your goals, and actually putting thought into action when it comes to your goals, which is why I said this month is very much a career-minded, driven energy. Moving on to January 2nd, we have Chiron going direct in Aries. Chiron is going to be staying in, it's going to move into Taurus eventually, but it will retrograde back into Aries later in the year in September. So I would say make note of anything that comes up during this time period because you will be revisiting this energy again later in the year. Chiron is the energy of healing. It's something that you need to heal. So look at where Chiron is in your chart. Aries is the ruler of the first house, and that is your self-perception, your identity. A lot of people refer to the first house as your mask, but I like to think of it as just how you present to the world. It's not necessarily a false self, which that's what I associate with the word mask. I don't think that's necessarily true. It's just you show up in the world a certain way, and that's what Aries is about. And with Chiron being in that sign, there is maybe a shift in your own personal identity and the way that you want to be seen in the world. Again, that's that rebrand energy that everyone has been talking about. This is a time to really integrate any healing you've done around your public persona, maybe dealing with that imposter syndrome, and maybe any misalignment with who you believe yourself to be and how you're perceived, and maybe coming to terms with that not necessarily aligning and that misalignment not being a bad thing. Moving on to January 3rd, we have full moon in Cancer. Cancer rules the 4th house, which is home, family, and I would also like to highlight that the moon rules Cancer, so she likes being in Cancer. She likes it there. This is going to be centered around a lot of heavy emotional release around your ideas of home and family. You might feel a little bit of a pull to examine those areas of your life, maybe checking in with fulfillment in those areas of your life. On January 6th, we have the Sun conjunct Venus, which is in Capricorn. The Sun being conjunct with Venus is usually a positive aspect. It's anything that is conjuncting with the Sun is getting a spotlight. So this is a spotlight on love, art, beauty, any of those things. Harmony, creativity. January 6th would be a good idea. It would be a good day to brainstorm ideas, plan ahead for something creative, or even just spending time working on whatever your form of art is. Lovely day for creativity. On January 8th, Venus will be conjunct with Mars in Capricorn. That's in the 10th house as well. Again, that is your career, your long-term thinking, ideas, and that could point to an amplification of some loving energy. It might be a time where you find yourself getting into a romantic relationship or evaluating a romantic relationship. With Venus and Mars being in the same place, that points to that's the planet of love and romance and beauty and softness coming into alignment with Mars, which is all about taking action, directness, very much driven energy, and that aligns with the Capricorn energy. So this is very much figuring some stuff out, putting a label on something, maybe. That would be a good time to continue to channel your energy towards creative pursuits as well as romantic ones. If you are interested in someone, that might be a good day to see what's up. January 9th, we have the Sun conjunct Mars. That is going to, again, highlight that assertiveness, that take charge, that getting things done energy. So it's going to be a little bit of a confidence boost that will lead to you taking steps, long-term steps in Capricorn. So that could be a day where maybe you make some moves around your career. If you're an entrepreneur, maybe there's something coming up for you that day. Maybe you're signing a contract. It would be a very good day for it. Moving on to January 17th, Venus will be moving into Aquarius. Aquarius rules the 11th house. that is all about community, individuality, and how it intersects with community. Very much humanitarian energy. This is pointing in the direction of intellectual connection, unconventional love connections. So maybe you meet someone who's not typically your type, but you vibe with them really well. It could also just be a friend who becomes something more, or it could just be you stepping into the energy of independence or embracing your independence out and identifying yourself outside of romantic aspects. Moving on to January 18th, we have a new moon in Capricorn, and we also have Mercury conjuncting Mars in Capricorn. With a lot of activity happening in the Capricorn area. This is going to be heavily felt by cardinal signs because Mercury is conjuncting Mars. That's going to be the planet of communication, stepping into alignment with the planet of decisive action and Capricorn. That energy could be a little bit touchy. People might be a little more sharp with their words. It could also be a time where someone who struggles to communicate how they feel or just communicate in general maybe has less of a struggle with that. But it could also be things coming off more harsh than they are intended. On January 20th, we have a lot of activity. We have Saturn sextile Uranus. Mercury is moving into Aquarius along with the Sun. And we also have Venus conjuncting Pluto. That's a lot going on there in Aquarius. And that was relating to the shift that I talked about where all of these planets are playing in Capricorn and Aquarius energy. And so that shift from the driven, very much career-minded aspect to more of a global attention. And so this is going to be a lot of transits focusing on self-discipline, meeting innovation, and creating order in the chaos. With Mercury moving into Aquarius, this is going to point to ideas that are more innovative, progressive, creative, something that's a little bit different than what would normally come up because Aquarius is very much, I was almost gonna say it. You know what? Who cares? Unique. The alien superstar of the zodiac. It does also mean with Venus coming into being conjunct with Pluto, there's going to be a lot of big fifis happening. Pluto's a tough planet. It's and I'm calling it a planet. I know there's technicalities, but it's a planet in this context. But it's going to be, power struggles, tower moments that are for your ultimate good, but it's still, it's a tower. I would say watch out around the 20th of January. There's going to be a lot of heavy activity. On the 21st of January, the Sun is going to be conjunct Mercury in Aquarius. And so now we're highlighting the mental aspect of life with that Aquarian creativity and unique outlook on life. So there's going to be a blend of motivation and a little bit of mental agility coming into play. On January 22nd, we're going to have Mercury conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. And so this is going to be some pretty heavy conversation happening, communication that's going to change the way you look at yourself, other people, the world. It's going to be a deep dive of a moment. Some people can be afraid of that intensity, but it's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to grow, and it's an opportunity to understand with that Aquarius energy, understand others on a communal level. Moving on to January 23rd, we have Mars entering Aquarius and the Sun conjuncting Pluto. Mars moving into Aquarius is going to put some action behind changes and reform, challenging authority, and sort of like a rebellious energy. I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be intense and potentially explosive, but it will also lead to necessary change. With the Sun conjunct Pluto, that's putting a highlight on deep energy, issues, your shadow work, all of that sort of thing, and it's bringing it to the forefront to really highlight where you might still need to bring some attention, show a little love, and work through some things. For January 26th, we'll have Neptune moving into Aries, where it will stay for the next 14 years. There's an emphasis here on the individual self, and again, that Aries is ruled by Mars, so that's that decisive, get it done. If anybody's going to do it, it's going to be me energy. That's the first house, that's the self. So this is going to be a push into people maybe stepping up and being the boss. I did say that that was the energy for January. It's definitely an energy that says it's time to take things seriously. On January 27th, we have Mars conjunct Pluto in Aquarius. I'm not gonna lie, that is a potentially challenging aspect for people. This is the Mars push, very much driven energy coming into alignment with the planet that goes deep, and it's about the shadow self, and it's about transformation and healing and all of that deep work. This is probably going to be a time where you feel really pushed to change, evolve, and grow, especially with that Aquarius, very much a revolutionary energy. This is going to be a time where you're going to want to sit down and journal about what's coming up for you at this time, because there's going to be something coming up you're going to finally be like, if I don't fix this now, it's going to hold me back from what I want to do. This is sort of like that perfect closer for this forward momentum energy of January. It's very much okay, you have these plans, you've laid the plans, you've played in the energy, and you fine-tuned everything, and now you know what you need to do. This is your final step before you fully execute. You have to leave some things behind, you have to grow, you have to evolve, and you have to heal. It's very much a boot to the toot. And our final transit, January 29th, we will have Mercury conjunct Venus. That's a lovely transit. It's in Aquarius, which means it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be maybe awkward in a cute way, but it will be easier for communication to flow. You're going to feel an ease in connection. And it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. This can be non-romantic. This could be you making friends really well. And especially if you do the work prior to that, with that Mars conjunct Pluto, then you've already laid the groundwork to bring a clean slate into these new relationships that Mercury conjunct Venus is going to facilitate a perfect little bookend for the month. That was a lot. I don't know that I've ever talked that much on a video, but here we are. I hope that something in there resonated with you. I'm going to put like cliff notes in the description box of what all the transits are going to be. And again, this isn't all inclusive. This is just what I felt like people would benefit the most from hearing. There's so many transits and there's so many different ones like sextiles and all of those things, but it's overwhelming for me learning. And so, like I said, I was trying to keep it simple. I was trying to give you the big highlights. So hopefully something in that will be helpful to you guys as you move through your January and as you plan your month out. I will be definitely setting up journal prompts and things like that. I will probably share those with you on another video, but for now, I will leave you all with a thank you so much for sitting with me. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you are kind to yourselves and to one another as always.